Welcome to the new office. The Exchange Administration Center, or EAC, is the web-based management console in the new Exchange that's optimized for on-premises, online, or hybrid Exchange deployments. The EAC replaces the Exchange Management Console, EMC, and the Exchange Control Panel, ECP, which were the two interfaces used to manage Exchange Server 2010. In this guide, you'll explore some of the organization management tasks you can perform using the new Exchange Administration Center. To navigate this guide, either click the prompts indicated on the screen or use your forward and back arrow keys to navigate through the steps. You can also access the control bar at the bottom of the screen for additional options. This is a user workstation with internet connectivity. From here, you'll access the Exchange Admin Center to view some of the organization management features available. First, log in to the EAC with administrator credentials. Follow the prompts on your screen to continue. In the Exchange Admin Center, notice that you can manage both on-premises and cloud organizations from the same interface, from any view. This view shows the Recipients area of the EAC, where you can manage mailboxes and mail recipients. From the Mailboxes tab, the ellipsis leads to the actions you can take. As you can see, you have the option to export the data in this view into a .csv file, show disconnected mailboxes, or conduct an advanced search. For the purposes of this guide, let's add some columns to the list for improved visibility. As you can see, you can add columns to display important information regarding the listed mailboxes, such as Exchange Active Sync policy, alias, archive state, or version. You can also easily adjust the number of items listed per page. Next, let's drill down into a user mailbox to review its details. In the Details pane, you can quickly review information about the selected user mailbox and complete common actions without the need to open the Mailbox Edit window. To see an example, let's take a closer look at the archive and configuration options available for this mailbox. Here, you can manage aspects of the user's archive mailbox, such as its allotted size. Next, let's add a new user mailbox and review some of the new configuration options available. You can enter new user information or associate the new mailbox with an existing user in the organization. Notice that you can also specify the mailbox database to be used, manage archive storage, and set the address book policy. Next, let's review some of the bulk edit options available. Using the bulk edit feature, you can apply changes to multiple mailboxes at once. For instance, you can apply specific policies for retention, role assignment, and sharing. Next, let's take a look at the group management features. From the Groups tab, you can quickly add a new distribution, security, or dynamic distribution group. Let's take a closer look to see how to configure a new group naming policy. Group naming policies can be used to specify the naming format for groups created by users. You can enforce the use of a prefix or suffix for group names. You can also specify blocked words that can't be used in group names. Next, let's drill down into a group to review the details of its mailbox. In the Details pane, you can quickly review the group type, description, owner, and membership for this group mailbox. Next, let's move a mailbox to another database. Follow the prompts to see how. First, give the new migration batch a name. Select the mailbox database to be used. Here, you can set bad item and large item limits. Notice that you can elect to start the batch automatically or at a later time. For the purposes of this guide, select the first option to automatically start the batch. In the Details pane of the Migration tab, you can review the current status information for the move batch. If a mailbox failed to move in this migration batch, a different database can be specified. For the purposes of this guide, let's create a new local move request. Users can be added individually or in bulk. For this second migration batch, select the mailboxes for Alex Wu and Amy Alberts. Next, specify the configuration settings for the new migration batch. This time, elect to manually start the batch later. After refreshing the page, you can see that the first migration batch, which started automatically, has completed and been finalized. Now, manually start the second batch migration. As you can see, the migration for both batches has completed and been finalized. Drilling down, you can review more details about the batch migration, such as the number of items synced or skipped in the batch. You can also review synchronization details specific to individual mailboxes, such as queued and in-progress duration times. As you can see from the two alerts, both migration batches are now complete. For the purpose of this guide, let's remove the completed migration batches from the list. Next, let's review the Mail Flow area. From Mail Flow, you can manage rules, delivery reports, accepted domains, email address policies, and receive and send connectors. For example, on the Rules tab, you can see that a rule has been enabled to protect messages containing keywords. Next, let's take a look at the Receive Connectors tab. From this tab, you can review the status of your managed servers. Let's review the general and security settings for the default front-end EX01 server. Here, you can review the version of the connector used as well as its status. From the Security tab, you can manage the security mechanisms used for incoming connections, as well as set access by permission groups. Next, let's review the organization transport settings. Here, you can manage limits, such as the maximum number of recipients. Safety Net is an improved feature in Exchange 2013 that replaces the transport dumpster feature. Similar to the previous feature, Safety Net is a queue associated with the transport service on a mailbox server. This queue stores copies of messages that were successfully processed by the server. Here, you can specify how long to store these copies before they expire and are automatically deleted. The default safety net hold time is 2 days. From the Delivery tab, you can manage the delivery status notification codes that are monitored for internal senders. Next, let's take a look at compliance management features. The Compliance Management area is where you can manage in-place discovery and holds, auditing, data loss prevention, retention policies, retention tags, and journaling. Follow the prompts on the screen to review the options. The Auditing tab provides reports that help identify changes made to mailboxes and configuration settings. You can search for specific types of changes and export the results. From the Data Loss Prevention tab, you can use DLP policies to protect email messages containing sensitive content and also enforce protection requirements. From the Retention Policies tab, you can conveniently group retention tags and assign them to users. Notice that the Details pane shows the retention tags contained in the policy selected. Retention tags are visible to end users and can be used to specify how long items in users' mailboxes will be saved. The Details pane on the Retention Tags tab provides a quick view into tags details, such as type, retention period length, and the action to be taken once the retention period ends. From the Journal Rules tab, you can manage journal reports of messaging data. Let's return to the Auditing tab. On the Auditing tab, you can use the report types listed to find changes made to mailboxes and configuration settings. Let's take a closer look at the options available for a non-owner mailbox access report. Here, you can easily specify the date range and mailboxes to search for. You can also search for non-owner access by users inside or outside your organization. Next, let's take a closer look at the Unified Messaging area. Here, you can set up unified messaging dial plans that define the settings for groups of telephone numbers in your organization. Let's take a look at some of the configuration options available. Here, you can configure mailbox policies, auto attendance, and hunt groups. Let's drill deeper into the configuration settings for this particular dial plan. From this window, you can also configure dial codes and Outlook voice access for this dial plan. Close the window to continue. Now, let's look at the mobile area. Here, you can manage quarantine devices, device access rules, and mobile device policies. Next, let's take a look at the organization area. The organization area is where you can manage the tasks that pertain to your Exchange organization, including federated sharing, apps, and address lists. For example, from here, you can enable Federation Trust for communication to the Microsoft Federation Gateway. Let's take a closer look at the Apps tab. Here, you can manage the installed apps used in the organization. Notice that you can add apps from several sources, including office.com, a URL, or a file. In the Details pane, you can manage organization-wide access to individual apps by either enabling or disabling them. Next, let's take a look at the Public Folders area. The Public Folders area is where you can provision and manage public folders and public folder mailboxes. As you can see, no active public folders are currently provisioned. Click OK to close the window and continue. Now, let's take a look at the Servers area. The Servers area is where you can manage your mailbox and client access servers, databases, database availability groups, virtual directories, and certificates. From the Servers tab within this area, you can view the details of the selected server, such as the server roles assigned and its version. Next, let's take a look at the Databases tab. Here, you can see a list of the organization's databases, the servers on which the databases are mounted, and where the database copies for each is located. You can click View Details to take a closer look at the available configuration options for this database. From here, you can review database details, such as the copy queue length and replay queue length. Additionally, you can review and manage the database's activation preference number and replay lag time. These settings can help you monitor and leverage the high availability features available in Exchange Server 2013. Close the window to continue. You also have quick access to important functions, such as the ability to dismount databases. Next, let's take a look at the Virtual Directories tab. Here, you can see the Internet Information Services, or IIS, virtual directories used by Exchange, as well as the server on which each virtual directory is running. Notice that this page can be quickly filtered by server or service type. These filters can be particularly helpful to larger organizations, where many Exchange servers may be deployed. This guide, using the Exchange Administration Center, is now complete. In this guide, you explored some of the organization management tasks you can perform using the new Exchange Administration Center. Thank you for completing this guide. For more information, contact your Microsoft representative or check out these additional resources.